Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is my psychology and crime channel. And I'm slowly moving to that channel. So please like and subscribe to that channel. It's called Psychology and Crime. You may find it under, if you write Huda London Psychology and Crime and write Idaho, Moscow, it should come up. Because I named it Huda London Psychology and Crime in the beginning, but I changed it to just Psychology and Crime Reactions. So please subscribe to that channel. I've been quite busy on that channel. I put up a couple of videos that I find interesting. And I've tried to put the link in my community page too. So I'd like to start by thanking all my subscribers in both my channels. I'd love to thank all the people who've left comments in both the channels. I'm trying to get back to them. I've been a bit busy at work and all. I wonder how summer is going on your side of the world. It's humid and hot in London. It's a bit overcrowded, so you don't get much air, honestly. But it's summer, so you can't complain. I'd love to pass my condolence to the families of the 4 victims. May the correct justice be served, not only for the 4 victims, but for Brian Christopher Koberger too. He has every right to present his case in front of the jury, and they will make the decision from there onwards. But right now, what we clearly see is a lot of nonsense happening, a lot of back and forth. The mainstream media is making it seem to be that the defense attorney, Ann Taylor, and her team seem to be just wasting time and coming up with things that don't exist. But I disagree, because let's go to the beginning of this case. There was 3 unidentified male DNAs. What has happened to that? It's important to know. 3 unidentified male DNAs. That will say that isn't E. There can't be anyone else in the house. We've heard rumors of DM without any discrimination being a transgender. And if that is the case, I've had many people asking me in my comment channel, would her fingerprints come up? It wouldn't come up if she's not on CODIS and if she hasn't done a crime before. But I assume that as soon as the quadruples happened and when the police came to the scene, the first thing they will do is take DNA from the surviving roommates, the person who called 911, most likely Hunter Johnson. I'm sure everyone else who was in the crime scene. I don't know if the police got hold of everyone who was there, because that's important to check that no one's DNA was up in the knife sheet too. This case makes it more complicated because, number one, mistake, fault, error, call it what you want, is that the police wasn't called for 8 to 9 hours. When you don't call the police for 8 hours, automatically people are going to assume, especially me, that you have something to hide. We teach our children from when they're young, if any emergency happens, call 911. We do that ourselves. We've been taught that in school, in college, in high school, primary school, elementary, name it. They taught that in courses. Everyone knows that. Working as a mental health counselor, 911 has to be a call that we make if something serious happens, because we're dealing with vulnerable clients. No matter what, when you come into a room or area and you figure out something is not right, and there's so much evidence there, whether it's red liquid or whatsoever, and you see people on the floor, the first thing you would think is get out of here and call 911, because 911 has to come and attend to the scene. Clearly, they could see that it was a scene that needed police, because let's not forget the grand jury clearly, we've heard from the grand jury, it was leaked out that the two surviving roommates were texting each other. What were they texting each other about? Was DM telling BF that I can hear Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, E yelling? Did she say somebody was fighting for their life? Because let's not forget that Steve said that the coroner told him there was a hell of a fight going on upstairs. So that means there had to be a lot of self-defense, there had to be a lot of fighting going down there. And I can imagine whoever came in, I don't think was one person, because 4 people, if they fight one person, at least, I believe 1 or 2 could have been unalive, but the rest could have defended themselves. So this doesn't make sense at all. Once you don't call 911, you have definitely something to hide. Even if you are in a shock mode, frozen state of mind, frozen state of body, if you're in such a shock, I do understand that it takes time for the shock to wear off, but you're not going to sleep until you know you're safe. And obviously there was a lot of chaos, a lot of fighting and all. Hell of a fight is what the coroner said. So picture that word. People were defending themselves, people were fighting for their lives. So for the surviving roommates not to have checked on the roommates for 8 hours doesn't make sense. We had the police chief, Chief Fry, clearly telling the ABC reporter, when she asked him about, was 911 called? He said yes. Were the roommates there? Yes. Were they injured? He said no. Why didn't they call 911? He said, that's what we're trying to investigate. Then she said, so why didn't the victims call? Why didn't the witness call 911? And Chief Fry clearly said, I didn't say they were witness. I said they were just there. That is the sentence I can't get over up to today. If you're not a witness and you were just there, what are you then? It's not enough that you're surviving roommate, because if you were there, you definitely heard noises. And later on we find out that DM actually saw someone with bushy eyebrows. But that's not what Chief Fry told us in the beginning. In the beginning he said they were just there. They weren't witnesses. So what happened in that 8 hours? We have Kaylee's LinkedIn account being logged off 13 hours after the unalivings. So the police came at 12. Around 11:38, 11:39, close to midnight on the 13th, going on the 14th, someone logged off Kaylee's LinkedIn account. According to her sister Alivido, who would know everything, because they have this joint, I don't know, family plan or something on their family telephone service. So they could clearly see somebody logged off. Who has Kaylee's password is the question. Who has access in getting into Kaylee's phone? And why did they specifically log off her LinkedIn account and not the other accounts? Not her Facebook, not her Snapchat. You can see her Facebook is still on. So somebody was really interested in the LinkedIn account. So that comes to my main question. Was somebody stalking Kaylee? Maybe on LinkedIn. Kaylee was moving to Austin, Texas. We all know of that. She's moving with a dog, and she's even interested in finding a roommate from February to April, I believe, or to August. For 4 months, she was interested in finding someone who wants to live with her and her sweet dog. That's what she said. The picture of her dog is there, Murphy. Kaylee got a nice job, according to her sister. from Austin. I think it was sales or something, consultation or something like that. Whatever job she got, it was in Austin, and she was going to start, I believe, around January or February. February. She was moving there in February, so I assume she would have started the job by February, January. Who knew of Kaylee moving to Austin? Did Kaylee find someone on LinkedIn? Or did someone find her on LinkedIn and started stalking her? I believe, honestly, it has something to do with the LinkedIn account. Because why would you log off just that app? In LinkedIn accounts, you can actually make transactions up to 500,000. Somebody told me 1,000,000, but I've checked and I can see 500,000. It doesn't look like it needs a lot to do that. So was there some things being, was there some transfers, transactions going on from the LinkedIn account to someone else? Could this be about money? The LinkedIn account is very strange. You have all these people at the grub truck. You have all these people at the band field running around. I didn't see anyone intoxicated. And for me, it looked like Saeed came there to save the other three. They didn't even know where they were going and where they were coming from. So I find that very, very odd. When they were asked, the three boys were asked, which house did you come from? They said, a party. Which party? Two of them didn't know. They said directly, I don't know his name. The third one said, I believe his name was Mats or something like that. So this Mats guy, I wonder how many people invited in his party, how many people were at his party. If anyone left his party and could have done this quadruples. Matt doesn't live far from the girls, he lives behind them. And we have the driver who drove Kaylee and Maddie home. He said that the street and area was quite quiet that night, except that there was a loud music and partying going on in the Sigma Chi. So a lot of action was going on in the Sigma Chi that night. We've heard that David Lodge and David B. Berry had a fight allegedly with E and Xana. And David L was on steroids, so it was about roids, about the rage he has. They exchanged words, and it was even said that he and Xana caught the two Davids in a bad scene, up to no good. And I think that triggered David L. Because you can imagine if you get caught in a bad scene, and these are young students in the college, they don't want the word to go around or rumors to be spread, especially when somebody's on steroids and think they're on point with their body and all. They have that. I think they're lacking self-confidence. So when they feel like they have that self-confidence with the steroids, and then somebody talks about the behavior between the two Davids, rumors going around, that definitely upset them. We clearly saw the four figures running. The four figures looked like they were running from Kings Road to Sigma Chi. The Sigma Chi was under investigation the first couple of weeks. The president of the Sigma Chi said he doesn't have cameras. Quite strange. And then coming back to the main thing, the 4chan. The 4chan told us a lot about this case. I've spoken about it so much in the beginning that I've stopped speaking about it, honestly, because it gets into your head. There's too much stuff that has been said in the 4chan. Let's start with the 4chan is an anonymous app. Anyone can put anything there. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that it's facts and reality. It could be fiction. It could be somebody's theory. It could be somebody trying to get someone else busted for something they didn't do. But I find it interesting because the 4chan explains motives. They have three targets, Maddie, E, and Xana. They said Kaylee wasn't supposed to be there. Wrong place at the wrong time. They used a lot of nasty disgusting language in the 4chan explaining the students, which I won't ever read. I've seen some creators having fun with that, basically. Reading all, there's a page of the 4chan that I've never read. I've read it to myself, obviously. I've read it for myself, but I've never put it out there because it is so unprofessional and so nasty for someone to be reading it. Because not only is the 4chan telling you about the feelings these people had towards the victims, they even talk nasty about Kaylee's parents and his parents. And for the creator to have been mentioning it and making part 1, part 2, part 3 of it is really tasteless. Because sometimes you have to think what is right and what is okay. It's not okay to be talking about Kaylee's mom and about how fat Kaylee's mom or Kaylee is, or about them calling Maddie a retarded baby and such things. I hate to use those words, but that was what the person was reading out. Really, really sad. Because you have to think about the parents and the siblings of these people, that the victims that are alive. They don't need to hear such nasty language. Just because people have a freedom of speech, it doesn't mean that we cross boundaries or such things. There's always ethical morals that has to be taken in consideration. And I think that's really horrible. But coming back to the 4chan, a lot was said in the 4chan. A lot was said of all 4 victims. They said that David Lodge, his room faces 1122 Kings Road. And from David Lodge's room, you can see when they turn off the lights. So I would assume that is the 2nd and the 3rd floor. They said that when the lights are turned off, we're going to do this in 19 minutes. Let's remember that. 19 minutes. We saw 4 figures running from 1122 Kings Road to Sigma Chi direction. So what were they going to do in 19 minutes? They were going to go to the house. They were going to leave their phone devices to start with. They didn't want any interference with the Wi-Fi and all that. They said they're going to leave their phones on YouTube so that they look like they've been on YouTube. They actually even decided to make their own alibi along the way. They said that within 19 minutes, they were going to do it. 2 or 3 were going to be on the lookout. 1 was going to do the wet job. And the 4chan is actually in parts, because let's remember the other part came out later where they said that they don't like how mainstream media is putting this out and making them to be like kind of innocent victims and all. So they keep on saying more bad things about the victims. So they basically didn't want the mainstream news media and YouTubers and all that working on this case, because they didn't want justice for these students. If the 4chan is the people who did it, it would have made sense because of the 4 targets, 4 motives. Kaylee is not in this one. That's why I always say Kaylee had to be something to do with the grub truck and the people in the grub truck. Because clearly we heard Jack Showalter saying, you know they're going to get you for this, Maddie. So Kaylee, I'm going to make another clip about Kaylee and her stalker issue, because I really believe Kaylee has something to do with this issue, with these crimes, but hers is totally different, I believe. The main target could have actually been Kaylee for other reasons. But let's go back to the 4chan. The 4chan explains that within 19 minutes they were going to do it. We know that there was a fight that night at the Sigma Chi. We know that David Lodge allegedly is on steroids. We know the symptoms. It's a drug that makes you really aggressive. And he must have been drinking because there was the Sigma Chi party. So imagine taking steroids and alcohol. That is a dangerous move. It can lead to a heart attack and other complications. Trigger warning. Symptoms of steroids as it makes people aggravated, aggressive, irritable, kind of in blackouts you can get into and such things. So if they're using this for, I don't know if he's using it for his sports to become bigger and stronger, or is he using it as a recreation drug? Is he maybe using this as a party drug? Whatever he's using and whatever he's using it for could be a major part of this quadruples. Because once a person is on steroids and alcohol, maybe he just wanted to be blank his head out when he was doing this. I hate to say that, but this case is really horrifying. It's interesting that the reporter said that there was blood everywhere. The Fox News reporter especially said that. So I wonder if they wrote something on the wall with red liquid saying who were the targets or if they deserved it, God forbid, or such things. I don't know why they're making it seem to be like it was a loner, someone who was an incel who did these crimes, while the truth could be right in front of us, that it's Sigma Chi fraternity who did it. Let's not forget all this beef was streaming up for a very long time with these people. They said that at the 4chan. One of David Berry's mother is a cleaner, or she works in a cleaning company. So many people are wondering if that was related with the 8 hours time. For all you know, maybe they did not get a cleaner. They just dragged around the time, waited to get the call or get what's it called, the confirmation. Maybe the surviving roommates had to wait till 11:58 and then they got the go ahead. Go call the police now. If they were under some kind of threat, I don't blame them because they have four people that they love that are already unalived. They don't want to be the fifth and sixth person, I believe. So maybe they're just taking orders to do what they have to do. And or for all you know, maybe the two surviving roommates weren't even at home. Because the tripod recording caught one of the girls running hysterically out from the sliding door. Was that BF, or was that DM? It could have been BF because Brian said that she has exculpatory evidence. Or it could have been the other one, DM. Let me know what you think about this.